everybody, it's Dr. Carmen Bryant, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you guys to all the new subscribers that have joined this wonderful tribe. Thank you for joining us. And today I wanted to talk about, someone asked me to talk about narcissists on the law enforcement agency, or basically police officers. So let's keep in mind for just a minute that, there is no career field or job that is off limits or not susceptible to narcissist infiltration. That's a big word, right? Sounds really, really fancy. But there is nothing that's off limits to where a career field or position or a job, where you may not find narcissism, or a person with narcissistic personality disorder. The places that narcissists thrive are positions in which they get attention. There's power, there's control, and as you know, that narcissists do not believe that laws, rules, and policies apply to them. They'll always find a way around it. That's why a lot of you say that it seems like they're always getting away with something. It's because they're so manipulative that they find loopholes and they find ways around how the law may not apply to them, or find a way, the law applies to you, but not to them. And so, you can find narcissists in the military, absolutely, doctors in the medical field, in the mental health field, bankers, tellers, wherever. You're going to find them everywhere. It just so happened that in the police department, think about it, these individuals, just like those in the military, are sworn to defend and protect, public safety and enforce laws and bring peace into the community. Well, when you have an individual that's trained in the law, and if they've been there long enough, they know how to manipulate the law. And I'm saying that because when I was in the military as a young sergeant at the time, I had a soldier, and I was a staff sergeant at the time, but I had a soldier. We had a year service with the Honor Guard of Fort Lewis. And we would travel in and out the state performing military honors, and oftentimes with the joint services. And everywhere we went, I had one soldier, we would talk all the time, and everywhere we went was always an opportunity, and he was a military police officer, but everywhere we went, and I said this before, I know I'm getting to it, but everywhere we went, he always found opportunity to commit a crime. It didn't matter where we went, how to carjack, how to do this, how to enter into a home, how to do this, how to steal a purse, everywhere we went. Now, I said, I need to watch myself, make sure you don't take anything. I said, I just asked him one day, I said, how in the world, you're supposed to be a police officer, a military police officer. You're supposed to protect people. You're not supposed to figure out how to commit a crime. He says, see, he said, that's where you're mistaken. He said, that's where you're wrong. He says, a good police officer, ones that are good at what they do, think like criminals. He said they have to have a criminal mind in order to catch a criminal. So you have to think like a criminal. He said, why do you think that so many police officers are corrupted? He says, why do you think there's so many of them that end up being pulled onto the other side of corruption? Because they think like criminals. He says, so a lot of times they become corrupted because that's how they think all the time. He says, but the good officers, the good police officers, are ones that think like criminals. That's how they catch them. He says, that's the mistake. So imagine you have police officers that are learning the laws, they know the state laws, they get training, and they may have narcissistic personality disorder. Well, first of all, they're in a position of power. Now, every police officer is not corrupt and crooked. My soldier was not corrupt and crooked, even though he may think like that. My stepfather was a Biloxi police officer in Mississippi, and he was a well-loved individual. Big guy too, scary guy, but he was a well-loved, and he's a big teddy bear, and people really loved him. He really loved the people. He loved what he was doing. But if you got on his bad side, yeah, you probably have 1,000-mile-per-hour highway chase. He didn't mind fighting. He didn't mind, he was all in it. You fight, he was ready, and scary, but he was a good-hearted police officer who had helped a lot of people. So all of them are not, he thought corrupt too, and it's not that he was corrupt, he thought corrupt too. He says, so it was easy, it was easy for him to catch people or to figure out what people were doing, or even just in the lives of his stepkids, of us, he knew how we were thinking because of the fact that he knew how he thought like that, because he was a police officer. He thought like that. That's how we didn't get caught. I didn't get caught up in very much because of the fact he was already thinking. He would always give me a look like, yeah, right, whatever, and he would tell me, but every police officer is not corrupt. And, nowadays you're starting to see where police officers are now having to wear body cams. So, because there have been a lot of lawsuits, as you see, a lot of lawsuits where corrupt police officers are now being caught. Not all of them, but a lot of them being caught. They have body cams on. They're being held accountable, and we hope this continues. They're being held accountable for the corruption that goes on in the police department. And as it goes through the corruption through the police department, you also have those that are in charge. The police chiefs. This is here in Tacoma, Washington. You guys, those of you that have heard of the Crystal Judson Family Law Center, which was dedicated to the wife of the police chief who lost her life. The police chief used to abuse her for years and then ended up publicly murdering her in public and killing himself. I think that's how it happened. He killed himself. But what was found is that, he was the beloved police chief, did a lot of awesome things, a lot of accolades, acknowledgments. He was good at what he did. But nobody knew that his family lived in pure terror, at home, that the wife was being abused. And what was she going to say? Because that was the police chief. He's a police officer. I know people now that are married to law enforcement officers that know how to manipulate the law and get them in and get the victim in trouble, and have gotten them in trouble, because they know how the law works. They know what to do. They know exactly what to say to manipulate, knowing that if the person is trying to escape, knowing if the person is trying to get help, they know exactly what to say in order to get them in trouble and flip the script. Other ones that they're abused, they're being abused at home by the law enforcement officer, and they're being threatened because they have a pistol at home. So they're being threatened, not the pistol being pointed at them or anything, but every so often, you have to clean the pistol that you don't use, and make sure it's in sight, when they're arguing. And so, you do have corrupt police officers, especially when you have those that are empowered. Now, some of them, you have the type of narcissists that are empowered by the love and affection that they get from public. The accolades that they get for doing what they're doing and fighting crime and helping people and helping the old ladies across the street. So some of them are fueled like that. And so those are the ones that you probably want. And then there are some that are fueled by the fact that they instill terror, or they instill fear, or they, I'm the boss. I'm the police officer. I tell you what to do. And, when I come around here, I'm going to harass you. Or, and like I said, you have those that are narcissists that don't mind using the law and their positions, and they hide behind the badge to harass and manipulate people. Just recently, this past Saturday, me and several people under the auspices of Apostle Helen Sadler, my mentor, had a march. We participated in a march in Tacoma where they want to stop the violence and the police corruption, because there was a police officer, and I don't know the whole story, so I'm going to say alleged because I don't know if the case has taken off yet, but allegedly was raping young single women with children. And in order to keep what he was doing under wraps, he was threatening to contact CPS to have their children removed, until finally one of the pastors in the community stepped up to the plate. And I think he was, I don't know if he was fired or taken off or on whatever hold, is being investigated, whatever, but there's a lot of one was filmed right here where I work at, not in my building, but where I work at across the street, where they have cameras outside, assaulting a teenager, and it was caught on camera. He didn't know that it was caught on camera, assaulting a teenager. Teenager wasn't doing anything, just walking through the parking lot, minding their business, and they were sued, millions of dollars. Another one just shot and killed a young guy. I don't know the whole story about it, but sometimes, and then they investigate, and sometimes it's not, and sometimes they do get away with it because they know how to word what they have to say. Even in the military, we knew how to say what we had to say, and we knew how to articulate it. When you're dealing with the law enforcement, they know how to articulate. They know, sometimes they know the laws, they know how to manipulate the laws, so yes, within the police department, yes, you do. And then if you're married to a police officer, just like a lawyer or a judge. If you are married to a police officer, they know what they go out on calls for. They know what they've been trained to do, and they know how to smear your name and make you look like the abuser or the person that's crazy. So they know how to manipulate laws, rules, policies, and hide behind the badge and authority, hide behind their authority, because normally people are either scared of police officers because of what they've heard, what they've seen, what they witnessed, or what they've experienced with cops that have been corrupt. Then you have the other ones that have a reverence for police officers. They have a respect, for police officers. They're not petrified or scared, but and many of you guys know, you've been riding on the highway or on the streets, and all of a sudden there's a cop, and it seems like everywhere you go, they're right behind you. Now, for some, they may be pulling up your tag, and for some, they're just going in the same direction that you're going. But you have that. You look right down at your speedometer, don't you? Then you look right up at the speed. You make sure you don't do a California roll. When you get to the stop sign, you stop. Where everybody in the car just, so they know that you just stopped in the car. So a lot of you do have that reverence, and some of you have that fear, because in today's society, when we're dealing with ethics and minorities, and there's just this fear, of police officers, and not all police officers are corrupt. They're not. I've met some really awesome police officers that really love their job, and it's the corrupt ones that end up tainting and tarnishing the reputations of those that truly love what they do, defending and protecting the people and going out to help. And I've met some awesome ones, and I have met some that are just cocky, self-absorbed and snotty and just nasty attitude, where you just let me shut my mouth. I've been involved in situations in which the police officer got upset at the driver in the car, and I'm in the back. Got upset at the driver at the car because the driver in the front of the car is getting smart, so he lied and gave us all tickets. And I wrote the judge. But but he was upset, and he was nasty attitude, and and lying. Talking and lying, and so sometimes they'll assume that you're not the sharpest pencil in the box, or the brightest crayon in the crayon box. And so, yes, there is corruption in all jobs. Police police department, law enforcement officers just happens to be one where they know the law, and they'll use the law against you. Now, that's just a small little snippet of information, just because somebody wanted to hear my opinion about it. But some of you you've got stories, you have experiences. Some of you have experiences with this, and how corrupt it can be, especially when you're dealing with an individual that's a narcissist. Very competitive, never wants to be wrong. You're not going to allow them to be wrong. Will go overboard to hide paperwork, hide facts, falsify paperwork for courts. Stuff come up missing. All sorts of corruptions. Not all of them are narcissists. Some of them are just corrupt. But then the narcissists add on to narcissists, add on corruption, add on a badge, and add a uniform in a place where you're enforcing laws. And you have a nuclear mess, a hot mess. It's my word. Hot word for today. Hot mess. So yes. So that is my opinion about law enforcement officers and those that have narcissistic personality disorder. Take everything that you're learning and everything that you've experienced, and then put it, on an individual with a uniform. And what can you imagine? And a lot of times they have a awesome reputation within the community. People love them. They're doing an awesome job. They have all these badges and accolades, and they've saved a cat from a burning building, a squirrel from the highest tree. So how can you come up against this individual that has this great personality? Those are covert narcissists that has this awesome, personality. How can you come up against him, and how dare you? And everyone tends to turn against you. Police department tends to turn against you because they know how to articulate what they have to say. They know how to make you look like the crazy person. So it doesn't change. If it happens in an intimate relationship, it happens with those of you in an intimate relationship with law enforcement officers or not. It's almost like you did. I'm not dating you. How did this happen? So that's my opinion about law enforcement officers. So hopefully that gave you a little information. I was asked to express my opinion about it. Not every law enforcement officer, police officer, is corrupt. They're not. And then there are some corrupt, narcissistic police officers. And on top of that, not every narcissistic police officer is evil and cruel to the people that they serve in the public. And a lot of them are still, but those same ones are covert, and their families at home are going through torment and hell. Case point, the Crystal Jetson, Family Law Center that was set up on behalf of Crystal Jetson, who lost her life to the police chief of Tacoma, and she was being abused for years, So hopefully this has helped somebody. I wanted to let you guys know I will be in, I was going to say Poseboro, that's over here in Washington. I'm going to be in Greensboro, North Carolina, with the beautiful Miss Tiara Carpenter, who is the CEO and founder of Project Identity. You go check out her website, is www.projectidentityinc.org, and I will be her speaker for November 16th. Go check out the flyer. I posted in my community tab. It's also on my Facebook page, and hopefully I have to go check her webpage. It should be on there. The fee is very nominal. It's $25 for general admission and $10 for students. So if you're a student, you can get in for $10. And then general admission, $25. You can do that at a restaurant on a Saturday or go to the movies. Nowadays, you got to finance a movie so you guys can spend. And if you can't come to support, you guys go to Eventbrite. She has a link for Eventbrite. Donate the money. Help her out. She's a young woman that is helping the community, is helping young people, that are going through abuse and bullying, and got coaches set up. She's doing an awesome job on the East Coast. So those of you that can't come out, I want to see you guys. I want to meet you guys. Come out. It is November 16th, 1 to 5 in Greensboro. I didn't look at the exact location. It is on the flyer, and it is on Eventbrite. You guys go check it out. Make sure you guys either donate or come out and meet me. I want to meet you guys. Bring your books with you too. Those of you that got books, bring your books with you, and I'll sign your books for you. And also look in the links below the YouTube channel. I have a sponsored link, which is www.betterhelp.com/Dr. Carmen. Those of you, some of you need coaches, and some of you need counselors. Some of you are unable to leave your home. You don't have transportation, or you may not have found a good counselor in your area. It's too far to travel. Well, they do online counseling, Skype, FaceTime, telephonic counseling. Some of you guys need counseling. Some of you have a lot of emotional pain, PTSD, complex PTSD. Some of you guys, and a lot of you have subscribed to it, and it is a nominal fee, so it's cheaper than coaching, be honest with you. And it is at a nominal fee, and you're getting mental health services, behavioral health services, and you can vet the counselors. You look for look for those that specialize in trauma, domestic violence, psychological abuse. Miss Arlene from Canada, my little angel, she has connected with one. I think her name is Irene Johnson. I think it was Irene. Hopefully I got that right. Or Irene, one of those names. But she connected with one that understands narcissist abuse. And so she found the right one for her, and she is in the healing process. A lot of you said that it is helping you. You guys got a counselor, you're watching the videos, you're doing something, you're taking the advice, and you are going through your healing process. This type of abuse is very unique. It is very, very dark. It is very different than the average domestic violence that you hear about, and a lot of people do not understand. A lot of people just don't get over it. You can heal. It's not that easy, because you are tormented, you are trauma bonded, you are addicted to an individual that purposely manipulates and purposely seeks to really destroy you. That's what they're doing. And they don't mind destroying your kids, coming after you. And so please go check out the link, www.betterhelp.com/Dr. Carmen. I think the first week is free. And then there's a small fee every month. If you're going through financial difficulties, you let them know, and they'll give it to you. I believe they will give you on a sliding scale fee. They give you at a discounted rate, and you vet the counselors. Also, my book, Unmasking the Illusion of Perfection. Let me grab the flyer. Unmasking the Illusion of Perfection. You guys go and purchase my book. It is Unmasking the Illusion of Perfection. You'll find it on Amazon.com. You'll find it on Barnes & Noble. Westbow. For those of you that are out of the country, you found it easier to go to the publisher, which is Westbow Publisher, and go to the bookstore. You can order it there. Some of you have purchased bulk. Thank you guys so much. Give it out. Give it as a gift. You know, it's a very cheap book, y'all. I think it's like $12.95, and I think the hardcover is like $29.95. There's like 116 pages, very easy read, and it's you know, in stories of people that have went through narcissist abuse. We can talk about it all day long. What does it look like? And you will find yourself in the book. It is a Christian book, because I do provide encouragement through scriptures. However, those of you that are not believers, that are not Christian, a lot of you have said I still found my story in there, and it was very encouraging, and it really helped me. And so take the principles out of it, find your story, and just be encouraged by what I have to say in the book. You know, but I'm giving stories of real people. And so those of you that have purchased my book, I'm so honored. Thank you so much. Make sure your teens, let your teens read it. Make it a reading assignment. If you guys are running domestic violence groups, if you know, make that a reading assignment. You know, if you guys are a facilitator for groups that, you know, domestic violence or any kind of group, even you guys as therapists, you know, I may not be the only one. I'm just advocating for my book, you know, but buy the book and have them read that book so they can see that they're not alone and they are not crazy. Read the book first and see if that's something that you can use in your group, and let them know that they're not crazy, because some of them are going through domestic violence, but they're going through narcissist abuse, which is very different than the way that they teach it in you know, like the YWCA and domestic violence group. You know, this is very insidious, you know, and so some of them need to know I'm not crazy. This is really hurting me. This is really, this is my story, and no one is believing me. They think that I'm crazy. They're giving me information, telling me to help me to move on, but they don't understand you are addicted, you know, and trauma bonded. And so get the book, let your teenagers read it, okay? And then make sure you guys go check out my mentor's YouTube channel. It is Helen Sadler, Destiny Helper. She provides you with narcissist abuse videos based on biblical and scriptural and spiritual advice and perspective. And she does an awesome job. She's got many years of experience, you know, with working with people that have been through this, have seen, not seen, but knows of people who have been killed and murdered, you know, before we had an opportunity to get to them. So I usually stick to the clinical side. She sticks to the biblical side, and we integrate that together. You know, we're a team. And so thank you guys so much for supporting me. There's also my Cash App and PayPal for those of you that are asking. Those of you donated, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. You don't know how much that is helping me to keep this going. And those of you that have recommended doing podcasts, thank you so much. I am on Podbean, I'm on Spotify, I'm on iHeartRadio, I am on Google Play, and I'm on iTunes. Now we're just waiting for Pandora. I do have 2 episodes on there right now. Forgive me, I know you guys like, hurry up, make another one. I'm starting from ground zero. And so, and I'm building like I did on YouTube, but I'm building that knowledge base. So if you guys want to go over there, it's not the same as on YouTube. And I'm not going to post the podcast on YouTube. But it is under Overcoming Narcissist Abuse. And so thank you guys once again. Happy Friday to all of you guys. I'm looking forward to talking to you guys on Sunday on our live between 8 and 9 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Those of you that are new, I do come on live where you can ask me, you know, I don't have a general topic that I usually talk about, but you guys are open to ask me whatever questions you want to ask me. And thank you guys once again. Have an awesome weekend. I really appreciate you guys. You guys are the best tribe. I wish I had you guys when I was going through what I was going through, because some of your comments, you guys are so encouraging, and I really appreciate you guys. You guys have an awesome day, and go be great.